Hey guys, tonight we travel far away into a desert that whispers secrets under a moonlit sky. Imagine yourself there, sand grains slipping through your fingers, stars shimmering like scattered diamonds, and a cool wind gently tugging at your clothes, carrying echoes of an ancient story. Tonight's tale is about a woman who defied every rule, expectation, and tradition. Oh, and did I mention she ruled Persia while disguised as a man? If you've ever complained about uncomfortable clothing, imagine what her wardrobe felt like. Trust me, you probably won't survive this. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, drop your location and local time below in the comments. It's fascinating how history brings us together across continents and clocks. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your story begins quietly, like most secrets do, deep in the deserts of ancient Persia, in the warm glow of lantern-lit chambers. Outside, the sand shifts restlessly beneath the cool caress of night winds, whispering across endless dunes that stretch to distant horizons. Persia, vast, mysterious, and ancient, is a realm of fierce warriors, wise scholars, and powerful kings. But tonight, a different kind of ruler is born. Within thick, protective palace walls, behind silken curtains and carved wooden screens, something extraordinary unfolds. The royal palace, with its polished marble floors and ornate tapestries, becomes a silent witness to a secret that could change everything. As attendants shuffle quietly through shadowed hallways, carrying basins of warm water and precious oils scented with jasmine and sandalwood, a young woman gives birth not to a prince as desperately hoped, but to a daughter. Normally, this would mean quiet disappointment, but destiny rarely behaves as expected. This particular newborn, small fists clenched tightly, eyes already fierce, arrives amid whispered prophecies of greatness, despite tradition's stubborn insistence that only sons can ascend to the throne. You might find it surprising that Persian traditions weren't always as strict about royal succession, but by this era, rules had hardened into walls higher than those surrounding the palace itself. Yet tonight, those walls begin to crack. Beneath the weight of expectation and ambition, the infant princess becomes the vessel for her family's daring dream. Her parents, skilled in both diplomacy and deception, share a knowing glance. They are rulers who understand the sharp edges of power, the fragility of empires, and that sometimes the greatest strength lies hidden in unexpected places. In this candlelit room, surrounded by whispered urgency, a radical plan takes shape. This princess, born beneath desert stars, will be raised as a prince. Think of it as an ancient gender reveal, but without the Instagram balloons. Her true identity will be guarded as fiercely as Persia's gold-filled vaults, whispered only to trusted advisors who understand the price of betrayal. Historians still argue whether the palace astrologers genuinely foresaw a prophecy justifying this risky deception, or if desperate politics forced their hand. Either way, the decision sets history in motion. Imagine growing up knowing your very existence is a secret. From the moment you can walk, you're taught to stride like a prince, your small feet echoing confidently against cool stone floors. From the moment you can speak, your voice is trained to command, resonating firmly through vast halls that have housed rulers for generations. You learn early that to survive in your own skin, you must first survive in another's. Your childhood is a careful choreography of deception, privilege, and power, hidden behind an expertly crafted mask of masculinity. When other princes ride horses, brandish swords, or wrestle in sun-dappled courtyards, you do the same, never faltering, never betraying the truth. Servants whisper approvingly at your remarkable skill, with a bow your uncommon strategic mind during chess matches, and your uncanny bravery in the face of palace intrigues. Of course, none of them truly knows why you're so exceptional. Yet, During quiet moments, you gaze from the palace's high balconies toward distant horizons where dust trails from caravans rise gently toward sapphire skies. The world outside whispers of adventure, power, and freedom, promises that sparkle tantalizingly beyond your gilded cage. It's bittersweet, really. You're both heir to everything and prisoner of your own disguise. And the older you grow, the heavier this secret becomes. Occasionally, royal messengers bring intriguing news from distant provinces. Tribes rebelling, armies amassing, kingdoms rising and falling like ocean tides. Each report becomes another lesson. Persia is vast, restless, and dangerous. To rule one must not only wear the crown, but also wield strength like tempered steel. Your parents watch your reactions, carefully pleased to see ambition burning steadily behind your carefully composed expression. They know their gamble is paying off. Then one day, destiny quickens its pace. A crisis in the distant provinces threatens Persia's very heart. Rumors circulate of palace plots and foreign spies, each word whispered urgently from behind trembling hands. Persia needs a strong heir now more than ever, a prince whose courage and leadership can unify the fractured land. Your moment approaches sooner than expected. Beneath the ancient dome of night, as you stare out across moonlit gardens, fragrant with roses and jasmine, your pulse quickens. You sense the world tilting slightly beneath your feet, readying itself for a shift. Soon, you'll step fully into the role you've rehearsed since birth, becoming the Prince Persia desperately seeks, but perhaps doesn't deserve. The sand whispers softly beyond palace walls, each grain bearing silent witness to the boldest deception Persia has ever seen. And now, beneath the endless desert sky, your journey truly begins. From the earliest memories you hold, your days are a calculated dance between caution and bravery. Each step choreographed by parents whose devotion to secrecy rivals modern spy thrillers. Inside ornate courtyards, filled with sweet-smelling citrus trees and trickling fountains, your tutors prepare you for an uncertain future. Historians still argue whether these teachers genuinely knew your true identity or simply marveled at your oddly refined manners, suspiciously perfect balance, and graceful martial skills. Your early lessons are a carefully blended cocktail of diplomacy, swordsmanship, and royal etiquette, everything required to shape a prince fit for Persia's throne. By now, you've grown accustomed to wearing heavy ceremonial robes intricately embroidered in gold thread clothing. So elaborate, even Lady Gaga might think twice before wearing them. Under the careful scrutiny of palace attendants, you master horseback riding and archery, swiftly becoming adept enough to impress even your harshest critics. If your life had been a Netflix series, the training montages alone would earn you an Emmy. But beneath these impressive skills lies your true education secrets whispered in candlelit chambers. Stories of palace intrigue and cautionary tales about rulers who failed to grasp power firmly enough. You learn not just the power of words, but also the art of silence, when to speak, when to listen, and when to hold a smile that reveals nothing. Palace gossip becomes your textbook, secrets your currency, and silence your best friend. Outside palace walls, Persia rumbles restlessly. Reports of distant rebellions, mysterious fires in border towns, and merchants murmuring about spies disguised as traders ripple through the kingdom. Your father, the reigning king, has grown older, his beard streaked gray with worry lines deepening like desert valleys. His reign is stable but fragile, like a spider web shimmering in morning dew. Your mother, sharp-eyed and fiercely protective, whispers urgent advice each night, reminding you that your safety and Persia's depends entirely on your flawless disguise. One afternoon, beneath the shaded arches of a secluded palace garden, you overhear an argument between your tutors. Hidden by lush greenery and blooming jasmine vines, their voices rise sharply, carrying fragments of panic on the wind. They speak in hushed urgency about distant cousins, ambitious uncles, and nobles, growing suspicious of your perfect princely facade. Fear stirs in your stomach, sharp as a sword's edge, reminding you that secrecy can be a fragile shield. Realizing you've lingered too long, you slip away silently, feet softly, padding across polished marble floors. You retreat into the dim solitude of your private chambers, heart racing with thoughts of betrayal. As you gaze into a polished bronze mirror, your reflection stares back a prince, flawless and confident on the surface, but beneath uncertain, anxious, and tired of pretending. Yet Persia demands this perfect mask, and so you straighten your spine, practice your princely voice, and bury uncertainty deep beneath layers of silk and brocade. Years pass swiftly, marked by increasing responsibilities. You begin accompanying your father on diplomatic missions, silently observing as he skillfully navigates through intricate webs of power. Your presence as a prince assures Persian allies, convinces doubtful generals, and quietly asserts royal authority. Yet behind every diplomatic smile, you sense suspicion, lurking eyes that narrow slightly too long questions that hint at secrets buried beneath your noble bearing. On your 16th birthday, a day marked quietly without ceremony, you join a secret council in the palace's most hidden chamber. Here, amid flickering candles and ancient manuscripts smelling faintly of musty parchment, your parents finally share the deepest secrets of Persia. You're shown maps detailing hidden passages beneath the city's secret communication routes and detailed dossiers on every noble general and merchant whose loyalty is less than certain. You marvel silently, half expecting James Bond to appear from behind a tapestry. This is your true inheritance, a kingdom built on cautioned secrets and carefully guarded truths. That same year, your training intensifies dramatically. Each day brings hours of sparring beneath the unforgiving desert sun, refining sword skills so swift and precise they leave bruises on even your most skilled teachers. At night, under the pale glow of crescent moons, you rehearse political strategies, practicing speeches laced with subtle threats and honeyed promises. Every gesture, every word, every look you give becomes part of your arsenal, designed to maintain control and protect your secret. Of course, adolescence doesn't entirely vanish beneath royal duty. You begin noticing the way certain palace guards glance your way, eyes admiring not just your skills, but something else, something dangerously close to recognizing your secret. Palace life becomes a delicate game of avoidance, an awkward medieval edition of high school crushes played out beneath silk tents and scented gardens. It's amusing, really. Everyone thinks you're aloof and disciplined, when in reality, you're just desperately trying not to blush. By the age of 18, you've mastered the role of prince completely. You lead mock military maneuvers, preside over diplomatic councils, and even sentence criminals with cool, detached justice that leaves elders nodding approvingly. Persia whispers your name with admiration, unaware that beneath your princely robes lies a woman whose every breath depends on deception. Yet the deception feels as comfortable now as your favorite pair of pajamas, familiar, reliable, but always ready to unravel at the slightest snag. Historians still debate how many truly knew your secret. Some suggest that key courtiers understood your identity, but kept silent out of respect or fear. Others argue passionately that your parents guarded the truth so fiercely that it never escaped their intimate circle. But you know that secrecy, like water in desert sands, eventually finds cracks to slip through. Finally, one warm, fragrant evening, as dusk paints the palace walls golden amber, an urgent summons arrives from your father. His eyes, normally steady as stone, flicker with unusual tension. He speaks softly, his voice trembling slightly as he delivers the news: the Persian throne, your inheritance, must pass swiftly into your hands. Persia's stability teeters, dangerously threatened by shadowy plots and ambitious rivals. You nod solemnly, heart quickening as your moment approaches. For the first time, the mask you wear feels heavier than ever, but you adjust it carefully. You've trained for this your whole life, and now finally the stage is yours. The moon hangs low and heavy tonight, casting silvery shadows across the sandstone walls of the royal palace. Inside, the air feels charged, thick with quiet urgency. You can almost hear the stone corridors whispering secrets back at you. Secrets only these ancient walls have witnessed over countless centuries. Tonight is no ordinary night. Tonight, Persia awaits its new ruler. Dressed meticulously in the robes of royalty, deep azure silks, threaded intricately with gold embroidery, you move quietly through the dimly lit corridors, attended by just a handful of trusted advisors. Their faces grave and determined speak volumes. They're prepared to safeguard this deception at all costs. Yet behind their calm demeanor, you sense their nervousness hidden carefully beneath masks perfected over years of practice. After all, crowning a princess disguised as a prince isn't exactly part of the usual royal handbook. You wonder briefly if medieval HR would even approve. You pause momentarily at the great bronze doors leading into the coronation chamber. The ceremonial hall beyond these doors is magnificent, adorned with jewel-encrusted pillars, softly glowing oil lamps, and Persian rugs that muffle footsteps with luxurious silence. You take a slow, calming breath. It's ironic your entire life has been about stepping into this moment, yet now standing on the brink of destiny. You can't help but feel your heartbeat quicken, betraying your carefully constructed composure. One final nod to your advisors signals your readiness. The doors swing open silently, revealing the shadowed hall crowded with Persia's most powerful figures. Noble families, military generals, and high-ranking priests, each face etched with anticipation, turn their gazes toward you. The whispers that float across the hall remind you of rustling leaves, urgent and restless. They watch as you walk confidently toward the throne, every step calculated, deliberate, unwavering. The high priest, draped in ceremonial robes of crimson and gold, stands waiting before the throne, his wrinkled hands clutching a crown that glitters dangerously under the flickering candlelight. It's ornate, heavy, and symbolic of absolute power. You resist the sudden urge to roll your eyes at its ostentation. It seems royalty has always had a flair for the dramatic. You kneel as tradition dictates, bowing your head, slightly awaiting the cool weight of authority. The priest begins his chant, a rhythmic murmuring in ancient Persian. His voice, deep and resonant, fills the chamber like a lullaby from centuries past. He speaks of kings and queens, long departed, invoking their blessings, hoping their spirits approve of tonight's hidden truth. Historians still argue whether religious authorities truly believed their chants could legitimize unconventional claims, or if their blessings were simply political theatrics. Then slowly, reverently, the priest lowers the crown upon your head. The weight surprises you, heavier than anticipated, pressing down upon your brow and reminding you sharply of the burden you're about to shoulder. He steps back, chanting softly, while attendants place a royal cloak across your shoulders, fastening it carefully at your throat, with golden clasps shaped like lions, fitting symbols of bravery and command. Your advisors nod slightly, their faces filled with relief. So far, the mask holds firm. Rising gracefully, you turn to face the assembly. Your eyes scan the hall, studying each face carefully. You see admiration, envy, curiosity, and suspicion, flickering like shadows in their gazes. They respect your skills, your sharp mind, your tactical brilliance, but power breeds doubt, especially when secrets hide beneath royal cloaks. Speaking for the first time as ruler, your voice rings through the chamber. Strong and clear, you declare your loyalty to Persia, pledging protection, prosperity, and wisdom in ruling the vast, complex kingdom. Each word resonates deeply, crafted carefully to inspire confidence, yet mask vulnerability. You've rehearsed this speech endlessly, each phrase polished until flawless, but your heartbeat still races beneath the calm exterior, pulsing with excitement and fear. The deception feels both exhilarating and perilous. One slip, one careless gesture could shatter everything. The ceremony concludes swiftly, allowing murmurs of conversation and polite applause to ripple softly through the assembly. Courtiers approach one by one, offering congratulations, blessings, and carefully veiled threats. It's all part of royal protocol. but you secretly wish medieval politics had a mute button. You greet each noble, each general with practiced grace, maintaining a regal bearing that leaves no doubt you are Persia's rightful ruler, every inch a prince. Yet amid all this careful pomp, a chilling moment occurs. A noble approaches offering congratulations in a low voice, his eyes sharp as daggers. His whispered words, though polite, drip with hidden meaning. "It seems your highness carries quite a delicate burden? May you bear it carefully. Your pulse quickens a warning, or simply coincidence?" Historians still debate whether some nobles knew the truth or merely sensed vulnerability. Either way, it's clear the path ahead is treacherous. Finally, the crowds disperse, leaving you alone in the throne room, now heavy with silence. You sit slowly upon the throne, feeling its carved wood against your back, hard, unforgiving, yet undeniably yours. For the first time, you truly comprehend the solitary weight of leadership. The air feels heavy around you, scented faintly with incense and history. Staring into the darkness beyond you, reflect quietly. Beneath these robes, beneath this carefully constructed disguise, lies a truth Persia would struggle to accept: a woman ruling an empire traditionally bound by male authority. Yet you feel strangely empowered by this secret. You alone hold this truth, your identity woven seamlessly into every decision, every royal command, every battle plan. The throne room's shadows lengthen, whispering softly of tomorrow's challenges. Tonight, however, you allow yourself this brief moment of triumph. You have ascended Persia's throne under impossible circumstances, masked by tradition, yet driven by destiny. You adjust the heavy crown, slightly smiling quietly to yourself. Tomorrow, the true battle begins, keeping your secret hidden while steering an empire. But tonight, beneath a quiet Persian sky scattered with stars, you savor your secret victory. Persia has crowned its king, and her name remains a mystery, whispered only to the sands. In the days following your midnight coronation, palace life settles into a strange, new rhythm, equal parts thrilling and dangerous. Your mornings start early, long before dawn's soft pink glow brushes Persia's distant mountains. Attendants bustle silently around you, arranging your robes, fastening golden clasps, and preparing breakfast dates, honey-soaked almonds, and fresh bread so delicious it could make a medieval food blogger weep with envy. Yet beneath these quiet routines simmers relentless tension. You can sense it in the hushed whispers, sidelong glances, and overly careful greetings of your advisors. Every interaction feels like an elaborate chess game where a single wrong move could topple the entire board. Your trusted inner circle, limited to only a handful, guards your secret fiercely. Still, paranoia creeps into your dreams, often taking the form of oddly persistent palace pigeons, whispering your secret to amused crowds. Perhaps Persia's crown comes standard with a healthy dose of anxiety. One morning, while sunlight streams softly through intricately carved windows, your advisors introduce you to the newly formed council, a select group chosen to help you navigate Persia's perilous political landscape. These men, respected for their wisdom, bravery, or cunning, kneel respectfully before you, their expressions unreadable beneath carefully trimmed beards and formal turbans. Historians still argue whether these counselors were intentionally chosen for their obliviousness to your secret, or precisely because some already guessed it. Either way, your future depends heavily upon their loyalty. You study their faces closely, committing each subtle expression, each posture to memory. There's the elderly general, scarred from countless battles, whose intense gaze could probably burn holes through solid stone. The clever merchant prince, known for his vast network of spies, disguised as traitors, and the scholarly priest, whose calm demeanor masks fierce ambition. Persia's future balances precariously in their hands and yours. As council meetings begin, you quickly realize your authority is both respected and tested. Noblemen argue passionately, waving hands dramatically in debates about taxes, trade routes, and military movements. At first, their bickering feels exhausting. like medieval reality television, minus the rose ceremonies. Soon, however, you master the subtle art of steering these discussions, deftly guiding them toward outcomes you desire without appearing overtly controlling. During your first serious decision, a dispute over grain taxation, you speak clearly and decisively. Your calm voice carries through the chamber, quieting arguments swiftly. It's exhilarating, really, watching grown men pause respectfully, reluctantly deferring to your judgment. Later, your trusted advisor whispers approvingly, "You handled that perfectly, my prince." It almost makes the stress worthwhile. Almost. Days soon blur into weeks, filled with endless diplomacy. Ambassadors from distant kingdoms arrive frequently, bringing exotic gifts, silken fabrics from China, spices from India, intricate jewelry from distant African kingdoms. Your throne room resembles a bustling bazaar, alive with color and intrigue. You realize quickly that diplomacy isn't merely exchanging gifts. It's an elaborate dance of smiles, veiled threats, and carefully measured promises. Throughout it all, your council remains vigilant, continuously protecting your secret. They quietly intercept, gossip, dismiss rumors, and swiftly silence whispers before they grow dangerous. Yet sometimes you catch worried glances exchanged between them, reminders of how delicate this deception remains. One careless slip, one servant overhearing an indiscreet comment, and Persia's throne could crumble beneath you. In rare moments of solitude, you wander the palace gardens alone, seeking solace beneath swaying palms and blooming jasmine vines. Here, hidden behind hedges shaped like mythical creatures, you briefly shed your royal mask, breathing deeply as anxiety slowly releases its tight grip on your chest. The garden, fragrant and peaceful whispers, comfort a sanctuary from endless palace intrigue. But always duty beckons, swiftly calling you back to robes, crowns, and carefully crafted disguises. Soon military strategy occupies your thoughts, becoming as familiar as breathing. Maps spread across heavy oak tables reveal distant borders threatened by ambitious neighbors. You pore over tactical plans, discussing maneuvers with generals who marvel quietly at your surprising military acumen. During one strategy session, your elderly general nods approvingly, muttering, "Your father trained you exceptionally well, Your Highness." You suppress a smile, thinking how surprised he'd be to know precisely how unique your training truly was. Rumors soon reach your ears about a rebellion brewing along Persia's distant frontier. Reports filter in, detailing angry tribes uniting against your rule, stirred by whispers questioning your legitimacy. Panic briefly grips your council, forcing you into an emergency meeting beneath flickering candlelight. The general's voice rises angrily, insisting military action immediately. The merchant prince suggests diplomacy, hinting slyly about bribes and alliances. The priest merely watches, his silence heavy with hidden calculation. You calmly interrupt their argument, detailing a plan that skillfully combines diplomacy, intimidation, and precise military action. Their surprise is palpable, their respect deepening visibly. You wonder briefly how many historical princes faced similar moments. Perhaps every ruler secretly doubts their readiness. Thankfully, medieval Persia lacks motivational posters urging you to believe in yourself. Days later, your strategy proves remarkably effective. Couriers deliver news that rebellious tribes have scattered, persuaded by clever diplomatic overtures and carefully timed military maneuvers. Your counselors offer relieved congratulations, marveling quietly at your skillful leadership. Their whispered conversations suggest growing trust and admiration. Yet you understand that loyalty, especially in palace politics, can vanish swiftly as desert mirages. Each day deepens your understanding of royal power. You realize rulership isn't merely commanding armies or collecting taxes. It's about shaping stories, controlling narratives, and subtly influencing how others perceive your authority. Beneath every calculated gesture lies the quiet realization that your greatest strength remains hidden from Persia's prying eyes. Yet ironically, secrecy has become your greatest power. As evening descends gently upon the palace, painting walls amber gold, you sit quietly upon your throne. Your gaze travels slowly across the empty council chamber, lit softly by dying candle flames. Tonight's silence feels comforting. Whispering quietly of hard-won victories, cleverly disguised vulnerabilities, and the fragile beauty of your deceptive reign. Yet tomorrow promises fresh challenges, new dangers lurking unseen in shadows. You adjust your robes thoughtfully, fingers tracing golden embroidery, a silent reminder of your carefully woven deception. Tonight, however, beneath Persia's endless starlit sky, you allow yourself quiet triumph. The crown still rests safely upon your head for now. At dawn, you wake to the sound of sandals scraping softly against polished stone, the scent of fresh rosewater already drifting into your chambers. Another day begins. Another chance to pretend perform rule. But this morning feels different. There's an unspoken tension in the air, like a storm building on the horizon. You feel it in your spine before anyone speaks a word. By mid-morning, the palace buzzes with activity. A messenger, sweat-streaked and dusty from hard riding, kneels before your throne and delivers the news the western provinces are under threat. A rival kingdom, small, ambitious, and suddenly well-armed, has moved its forces dangerously close to Persian borders. You study the map he unfurls fingers, tracing mountains, rivers, and trade routes like veins through the empire. It's not just a territorial challenge, it's a test of your strength and of your secret. The council is summoned swiftly. Arguments ignite almost immediately. The old general pounds the table. "We march tonight," he growls. "Crush them before they cross the river." Others suggest caution or diplomacy. A few glance at you, curious to see how the young prince, still new to the throne, will respond. You rise slowly. Your voice is calm but firm. "Let them come closer," you say. "We'll control the terrain, limit their movement. And when the time comes, we strike with precision, not panic." The general stares at you surprised. Then grudgingly, he nods. You've just passed your first real test as a wartime ruler. Preparing for battle changes the palace's rhythm. The soft shuffle of servants is replaced by the clatter of weapons, the barking of orders, and the rhythmic clink of armor being fitted. From your high balcony, you watch soldiers train in the courtyards below, bows drawn, swords flashing in the sun. You long to be among them, not just as commander, but as a fighter. You always preferred the sword to the scroll. Later that week, beneath a cool starlit sky, you ride out in secret to inspect the troops. Clad in armor crafted to fit your frame, light enough for speed, strong enough for protection, you move among the tents quietly, watching soldiers share meals, sharpen blades, laugh nervously. They see only a prince brave and focused. None suspect that beneath your armor lies a body history would not allow to lead them. And yet, you do. Your general joins you near the edge of camp, his face illuminated by the soft flicker of a campfire. He praises your presence among the men. "They fight better when they believe their leader rides beside them," he says. You smile politely, careful not to reveal how true that is. That night, sleep comes slowly, wrapped in the sound of snoring soldiers and distant jackals. At dawn, battle erupts like a thunderclap. The enemy crosses the river under cover of fog, expecting a quick surprise attack. But you're ready. From a high ridge, you direct your archers, unleashing a storm of arrows that turn the battlefield into chaos. Dust rises, voices shout, steel clashes. You feel the ground vibrate beneath your horse's hooves. And then the moment comes, you ride. It's not a ceremonial ride. This is real. You cut through the confusion like a desert wind, flanking their commander, pushing their troops into disarray. Your sword flashes quick, precise, practiced. You trained for this your whole life. And for a few brief moments, the truth doesn't matter. Man or woman, prince or princess, you are power incarnate. Historians still argue whether you truly fought on the front lines or merely directed from afar. Some suggest the battlefield tales are embellished legends told to inspire loyalty. Others believe the truth lies somewhere in between, that a ruler willing to bleed for her people is remembered no matter the details. By sunset, the battle is over. The enemy flees, their forces shattered. Persian soldiers raise a victory cry that echoes through the valley like 1,000 drums. Your general approaches, bloodied, but grinning. "You've earned their devotion," he says simply. You nod, but inside, you feel a strange mix of pride and pain. You've proven yourself, yet still must hide the truth of who you are. News of your victory spreads like wildfire. Merchants sing songs of the fearless prince who saved the empire. Children reenact the battle with wooden swords, shouting your name proudly in village squares. Courtiers toast your brilliance, and you smile grateful, but also haunted. Every cheer for your name is a reminder of the truth you can never share. Late one night, as you soak your bruised limbs in a bath scented with chamomile and lavender, a servant, young quiet, too observant, pauses. Her eyes flicker toward your neck, where a strap has slipped, revealing more skin than it should. Just a second. Then she looks away and says nothing. But your heart hammers. Did she see? Does she know? Or are you just imagining it? You summon your inner circle immediately. If even one servant whispers, the entire court could unravel. They reassure you she's loyal. Her family has served the palace for generations. Still, you can't help but think every day this secret becomes harder to keep. And yet victories like this one cement your rule. You've proven your strength, not with words, but with steel. The generals respect you. The people revere you. Even your enemies whisper your name with fear. For now, the mask holds. But Persia is vast, and secrets cast long shadows. The palace, once so familiar and secure, now feels like a labyrinth of eyes. After your victory in the West, the court's admiration surges, but so does its curiosity. Compliments flow like wine too sweet too often. Nobles linger too long during ceremonies, watching how you move, how you speak. It's subtle like a change in the wind, but you feel it. The walls, once silent and obedient, now seem to lean in and listen. Suspicion is a quiet creature. It doesn't shout or demand attention. It drips slow and poisonous into conversation. You hear your name whispered just a little too softly behind draped tapestries. Questions that never used to be asked now slip into idle chatter. Strange, isn't it, how the prince never visits the harem, or he's always been so refined? No accusations, not yet. But the palace, you sense, is holding its breath. And then a letter arrives. No seal, no signature, just one sentence, written in a careful slanted hand. Does the lion truly wear the mane, or is it a clever disguise? You burn it immediately, of course. The flames curl around the parchment, but not before the words sear into your thoughts. Someone knows, or thinks they know. Either way, it's too close. Your most trusted advisor, a former court poet, turned political operative with a wit as sharp as his ink, insists it's bluff. This court thrives on secrets, my prince. Half of them think the high priest drinks goat blood, and the other half suspect your cousin talks to snakes. He smiles. But yes will tighten security. And so the palace changes again. Guards are reassigned, servants are reshuffled. Hallways, once bustling with attendants, now echo with silence. You learn to read the space between words, the tension in a room before anyone speaks. Your life becomes a symphony of controlled gestures and veiled glances. But control, as you're learning, is illusion. One morning during a routine council meeting, the merchant prince casually mentions a rumor circulating in the southern provinces. They say our ruler is unlike any before. He says, voice pleasant fingers absently toying with a grape. Something about divine duality, both warrior and mother. His eyes meet yours, just long enough to make your chest tighten. And then he smiles. Nonsense, of course. Later, in the privacy of your chambers, you grip the windowsill until your knuckles ache. Divine duality. Clever, poetic, dangerous. You suspect he's testing you, or warning you, or both. Historians still debate whether the southern provinces genuinely revered you as some kind of semi-divine figure, or if it was a coded way to whisper your secret without saying it outright. The pressure builds day by day. You find yourself shrinking from mirrors, wary of your own reflection. Each morning, the act of binding your chest feels tighter, each robe heavier. Even your voice, so carefully trained to command, starts to sound hollow in your own ears. And then, the worst arrives. An ambassador from a neighboring kingdom requests a private audience. He brings gifts, of course, gilded scrolls, a tapestry depicting his king's recent hunt, and a jeweled dagger so heavy with sapphires it looks absurd. But what he brings most dangerously is his gaze, unflinching, calculating. He watches your every move during your polite exchange. His smile never quite reaches his eyes. After the meeting, your advisor pulls you aside. He's not here for trade. He says bluntly, they've heard the rumors. He's here to sniff them out. If he confirms it, he doesn't need to finish. You know, an exposed ruler is a weak ruler. And Persia, proud and ancient, would never accept a queen who became king through deception, not openly. So, you act. The very next day, you announce a week-long celebration of your recent victory, a spontaneous festival of gratitude and unity. The city rejoices. Banners rise. Musicians fill the streets. Jugglers, fire dancers, even trained elephants parade through the capital. The ambassador, caught in the middle of this sudden joy, is swept up in the chaos. You invite him to your private pavilion, where you drink wine and share exaggerated stories of battle while actors perform heroic scenes depicting you as the undefeatable son of Persia. The plan works. Mostly. He leaves with a scroll full of diplomatic promises and a head full of doubts, too buried under incense and pageantry to matter. But it's close. Too close. And not everyone is so easily distracted. Your court astrologer, an elderly man with sun-spotted skin and eyes like polished onyx, approaches you one night. He speaks quietly, as if not to startle fate itself. I've read your stars, he murmurs. They flicker strangely. Male energy, yes, but wrapped in moonlight. This path you walk. He pauses. It ends either in fire or in legend. You try to smile. Let's hope for legend then. He nods, but says nothing more. Just places a silver charm in your hand and disappears into the shadows. Even in this perilous time, you cling to moments of strange comfort. A warm breeze at dusk, the distant sound of laughter in the marketplace, the feel of soft silk against your wrists as you undress alone at night. These fleeting sensations remind you that you are not just a ruler, not just a secret. You are still human, still her. One night, unable to sleep, you wander the palace corridors and find yourself outside the royal archives. You slip inside. Dust dances in torchlight. Scrolls as old as the kingdom itself line the walls. You find a forgotten manuscript, a tale of a woman who once ruled in secret centuries before your time. Her name has been erased, but her story remains. You wonder briefly if you'll suffer the same fate, or if one day, long after you're gone, someone will find your story hidden here and know you ruled, not despite your truth, but because of it. You don't remember exactly when you started looking at him differently. Perhaps it was during a training session in the palace courtyard, the two of you sparring in late afternoon light blades, clashing while your laughter echoed through colonnaded halls. Or maybe it was that time he defended your strategy in council, his voice low and steady, shielding you with the same silent loyalty he's shown since the beginning. Whatever the moment was, it slipped past like sand through your fingers, quiet, unassuming, irreversible. He is your general now, one of the finest Persia has ever known. Brave, sharp-minded, and entirely unaware that the ruler he serves with unwavering devotion is not the man he believes you to be, which makes things complicated. You catch yourself watching him too long during council meetings, listening too closely when he speaks, noticing the way his hands move when he's thinking, the exact angle of the scar above his brow. These are not the thoughts a ruler, certainly not a prince, should have. But you're not just a prince, are you? One evening you find yourselves alone reviewing campaign maps beneath the soft flicker of oil lamps. The room smells of parchment wax and something vaguely citrusy. He always seems to carry the scent of the orchards he trains near. You point to a contested border. He leans in beside you. Too close. The air tightens. Sometimes he murmurs, eyes still on the map. I think you carry more than just the crown. He doesn't elaborate, doesn't look up, but the words settle between you like a challenge or a confession. You say nothing, just adjust your cloak, shift the topic, and move on. But the silence after that feels loaded like a bowstring pulled taut. Historians still debate whether your relationship with him ever crossed the line between loyalty and love. There are poems that hint at it, verses too tender, too raw to be fiction. Then again, poets are notorious liars. You try to keep your distance. For weeks, you bury yourself in state matters, water rights, trade negotiations, temple repairs. Anything to avoid his gaze. But it's like trying to hold back the tide with a handful of sand. He is everywhere. During one military inspection, he rides beside you, his presence steady and calm. You discuss formations and supplies, but beneath every word is something unspoken. When your gloved hand brushes his, accidentally, he doesn't flinch, doesn't pull away. But he doesn't look at you either, and that somehow makes it worse. One night after a long and restless evening, you climb the palace roof alone. The stars above Persia are impossibly clear, scattered across the velvet sky like a forgotten story written in light. You sit beside a small brazier hood, pulled low, and let yourself be still. He finds you there. Of course he does. He doesn't speak right away, just sits beside you in silence, watching the same stars. After a while, he asks, "Do you ever wish things were different?" You laugh, quietly, bitterly. "Don't you?" He turns then. His eyes search your face, but gently, as though he's looking for something he's already certain of, but wants you to say out loud. "You're not like other rulers," he says. "You lead differently. You see things they don't." He hesitates. "I've followed kings before, but I trust you." There's a pause. Your heart beats far too loudly for comfort. You wonder for the 100th time if he knows. If he's always known. If love or loyalty has made him choose silence. You should walk away. End this. But instead you ask, "And if you knew something impossible about me, would that change anything?" His answer is immediate. No. You turn to look at him, and for the first time you let yourself believe he might truly mean it. But you don't speak again. You both just sit there watching the night pass. Two hearts caught in a web of politics, duty, and quiet longing. No declarations, no promises, just presence. And yet, things begin to shift. You feel it in how he watches you, less like a soldier to a sovereign, more like someone trying to memorize something fleeting. You begin to wonder if perhaps deep down he does know, or suspects, and chooses every day to follow you anyway. One morning during a weapons demonstration, a sparring match turns tense. You misstep. He moves to protect you instinctively. Two close hands catching your shoulders. The court watches in silence. He holds your gaze for a moment too long, then steps back, salutes, and resumes his place. The noble watching from the balcony, one of your political rivals, leans in and whispers something to his companion. You don't hear it, but you feel the heat of it crawl up your neck. You know this is dangerous, Every lingering look is a risk. Every shared silence a threat. And yet, you can't bring yourself to end it. Not yet. Because somewhere in the middle of disguises, ceremonies, and deception, you found something real. Something not shaped by titles or tradition. Something ancient and human. Love, however forbidden, has found its way into your carefully built fortress. You just pray it doesn't bring the whole thing crumbling down. There's a feeling you can't quite shake, like something just out of sight is watching, waiting. The palace still functions smoothly. The courtiers still bow. The soldiers still train. And yet, something is off. You notice more glances over shoulders, more hushed conversations that fall abruptly silent when you enter a room. The palace has always been a stage, but now it feels like one lit too brightly. Every curtain tugged back, every actor slightly out of place. Then one morning, the whisper becomes a roar. You're handed a folded scrap of parchment by a breathless servant, her hands trembling slightly. The message is short, but devastating. The merchant prince knows. He's gathering allies. Move quickly. It's unsigned. You don't need a name. Only one man in your court smiles that smoothly and lies that beautifully. He'd always seemed loyal, or at least loyal to power. But power, like perfume, fades if not constantly reapplied. And now, with rumors ripe and alliances shifting, he's found opportunity in your secret. Your inner circle assembles swiftly. The air crackles with urgency. Your advisor leans over the map table, voice tight. He doesn't have proof yet, but he doesn't need it. He just needs enough doubt to spark the right questions in the wrong ears. And those ears, they're everywhere. Other nobles who've long envied your rapid rise. Religious leaders uneasy about your reforms. Foreign agents sniffing for weakness. All it takes is one public accusation, and the illusion crumbles. Options you ask, voice steady, despite the storm rising in your chest. Silence him, your general says. Immediately, unflinchingly. It's not the first time he's said something so direct, but this time his words carry weight, real consequence. And you see it, just a flicker in his eyes. He knows the truth now, or enough of it to understand what's at stake. You nod once. Not yet. Let's be smarter. You plan quickly, decisively. A diplomatic mission is arranged ostensibly to negotiate trade with a distant province. The merchant prince is selected to lead it. A great honor. Publicly, he's praised and applauded. Privately, you tighten the net. 2 of your most loyal guards accompany him. So does a scribe trained not in poetry, but in subterfuge. Before the caravan even reaches its destination, evidence of treason is uncovered, cleverly forged letters, paid witnesses, whispers of bribes and foreign allegiances. By the time word returns to the capital, he's already been arrested. The charge is treason, conspiracy, and endangering the stability of the throne. You don't smile as you read the formal report. You feel no satisfaction, only exhaustion. One more piece moved. One more secret protected. But at what cost? The court responds as expected. Outrage, confusion, then silence. Nobles retreat into caution. Rumors once so loud become vague murmurs again. You've bought time, but not peace. Because now the questions aren't just whispered. They're studied, and they're shifting. Less about your policies, more about you. One evening alone in your chambers, you remove your ceremonial robes and stand before the mirror. You stare at the reflection, at the chest bound tightly beneath linen, at the curve of your jaw softened with powder, at the hands, calloused from battle, ink-stained from governance. You wonder who is truly reflected here. The girl you were born as the prince the world believes you to be, or something else entirely. Something in between both, and neither. Historians still argue how you identified yourself. Some call you a woman forced to perform manhood. Others describe you as genderless royalty. transcending classification altogether. A few even suggest you embraced both roles fully, neither ashamed of one nor reliant on the other. The truth, as always, is less convenient than labels. Your general finds you on the palace ramparts later that night. The city stretches below golden lights, winking across the rooftops like scattered embers. "They're still scared of you," he says softly, standing beside you. That means you still hold the reins. You glance at him. Even if they find out, he doesn't answer immediately. Just watches the stars, brow furrowed. If they do, he says at last, they'll have to face the truth. You ruled them better than any man they ever crowned. You study him in silence. "And what about you?" He meets your gaze evenly. "I already faced it." The words settle into you like a stone dropped in still water. Rippling, deepening, anchoring. But there's no time for sentiment. A new danger rises from the east. One of Persia's neighboring kingdoms is amassing troops along your borders. It could be coincidence, it could be timing, or it could be that they've caught wind of instability. The scent of blood. You ride out within the week. Your troops remain loyal, fiercely so. Whether through fear, admiration, or the sheer magnetism of your leadership, they follow you without hesitation. Your generals stand by you. Even those who suspect the truth whisper nothing, not yet. As the army marches across the desert, you feel the heat on your face, the coarse wind in your hair, the rhythmic thud of horses beneath you. You were never meant for palace walls. You were made for movement, for decision risk, and fire. When battle comes, it's fast and brutal. You lead from the front as always. Your blade is swift, your commands precise. Victory comes before sunset, leaving the enemy shattered and your legend further sealed. But in the aftermath, as you kneel beside your wounded offering, Comfort Praisewater, one soldier half-conscious looks up at you and whispers, "My queen." You freeze. He doesn't repeat it, doesn't seem aware. Perhaps it was a dream. Perhaps he's delirious. But the word echoes in your mind long after night falls. The cracks are widening. You have ruled Persia. You have defended it. But now the question is no longer, can you continue, but should you? And if the truth emerges, what will Persia choose to remember? The deception or the strength that came with it? The wind is different now. Drier, sharper. It carries not only sand, but tension threading through the palace like a rumor. No one wants to say aloud. You feel it in the way people bow, just a breath slower, eyes lingering too long. You feel it in the silences that used to be respectful, but are now pregnant with hesitation. Then the letter arrives. It's not unsigned this time. It's sealed with the royal emblem of a provincial governor, one of your more conservative rivals. The message is blunt, almost theatrical in its lack of subtlety. The court will no longer tolerate deceit. Come before the council in 7 days as yourself, or be removed. No veils, no codes, just the inevitable finally written down. Your inner circle meets before sunrise, voices hushed beneath the cold hush of pre-dawn. They argue, of course. The priest says you should lie, claim slander. The poet-strategist suggests fleeing, vanishing into the mountains, gathering loyalists. The general, ever your anchor, says nothing until they're done. Then he looks at you and says, "It's time. Not time to run. Not time to deny. Just time." The days that follow feel like sleepwalking through fire. You perform your duties, sign decrees, greet visitors, smile during ceremonies. But your mind is elsewhere, rehearsing truths you've never spoken aloud, imagining outcomes that all end in loss. On the 6th day, the general brings you your armor, not the ceremonial kind, the real one, hardened leather chainmail and the steel-plated chest piece you've worn in battle before. "You'll need this," he says. "Whatever happens in that hall, go in as the person they followed into war." You nod, quietly. That night you prepare alone. You undo the bindings that have defined your body since childhood. Your ribs ache with the sudden freedom like a bird released after years in a cage. You run your fingers over your skin, not with shame or uncertainty, but with recognition. This body has ridden horses across deserts, held blades steady in trembling hands, commanded armies and carved nations from chaos. Let them see it. On the seventh day, you walk to the council chamber, not as the prince they crowned, but as the ruler you are. The armor fits differently, slightly looser around the waist, tighter at the chest. The sword on your hip is the same. So is your stride, steady, certain. The chamber falls silent when you enter. Nobles line the walls, their silks bright, their faces pale. You recognize every one of them, some loyal, some wavering, some already sharpening metaphorical daggers. At the head of the room stands the governor who sent the letter. His face is smug, righteous. He gestures dramatically toward the center of the chamber. You were asked to arrive as yourself, he declares. You step forward, remove your helmet, and let them look. The silence is complete. Then a murmur ripples through the room, sharp and fast as a desert wind. Some look shocked, others unsurprised. Just a few look impressed. I am myself, you say. I have always been. You allow the words to hang there unashamed, unqualified. No apologies, no defense, just truth. The governor steps forward, mouth opening to speak, but he's interrupted. Your general moves beside you, armor glinting. I followed this ruler into battle, he says. Not once did I question their command. Not once did they fail us. Persia stands today because of them. That's the only truth that matters. Another voice chimes in, one of the younger nobles, a former critic. If she had worn a crown openly, we would never have given it. But she earned it every day since. Others begin to speak. Slowly, cautiously, and then all at once. Historians still argue whether this moment was orchestrated, if your allies had prepared these speeches in advance. Some claim the general coerced them. Others believe the tide turned genuinely the moment people saw you for who you were and realized nothing had truly changed. The vote is held before sunset, and you win. Barely. You remain on the throne, but no longer in disguise. The deception is gone, and in its place stands something stranger acceptance, however reluctant, however fragile. But there is no triumph. You return to your chambers, remove your armor, and sit in the quiet. Everything has changed, and nothing has. In the weeks that follow, you sense the shift. Some nobles withdraw, others grow closer. The court becomes a colder place, its smiles thinner, its alliances shakier. You lose influence in some provinces, gain it in others. You're no longer a mystery. You are now a debate, a figure carved not in marble but in contradiction. Still you rule. You pass laws. You lead armies. You settle disputes. And each day you wake as yourself, unbound, unmasked, unmistakably present. Then the letter arrives. This one is personal. Rebellion has begun. Not a border skirmish, a real one. Led by a cousin who believes your rule is blasphemy. He claims to fight for tradition, for honor, for Persia. You don your armor again, and this time you ride at the front, not to defend your secret, but to defend your right. Your general rides beside you, no longer silent. You know, he says, as the battlefield rises in the distance, they'll write songs about this. You smile. Only if we survive. He nods. Then we'd better make it memorable. And with that, you lead your army into the dust. One last battle. Two hearts finally unhidden. And the fate of a kingdom, balanced between truth and legacy. The battlefield stretches before you, like a tapestry, half woven, half burning. Dust swirls around your horse's legs, veiling the soldiers behind you. In a haze that smells of sweat iron and fear. Across the plain, your cousin's banners rise defiantly, ancient family sigils twisted into a challenge. The very bloodline you fought so hard to protect now rises to unseat you. You tighten your grip on the reins. The army behind you is tense, loyal, but aware. Aware of the truth. Aware of the risk. Aware that this isn't just a battle for land or politics. It's for legitimacy, identity, memory. The general rides beside you as he always has. You glance at him. He meets your eyes without question. No speeches, you ask, half a smile tugging at your lips. He shrugs. You've said enough. Now show them. You give the signal. Horns wail across the field like the cry of a dying god. Archers release the first volley, sleek dark arrows slicing the sky. Cavalry moves next, thundering over dry earth, kicking up the past with every hoofbeat. You lead the charge, not behind, not watching, not whispering strategy from a safe distance. No, you ride first. Your sword gleams in the unforgiving light, and your armor sings a metallic song with every movement. You crash into enemy lines with the precision of a falcon diving through wind. Blades meet. Shields buckle. You hear the cry of pain and triumph. See faces flash by in chaotic glimpses. Too fast, too human. It's not just war. It's personal. You cut through the confusion, reaching the heart of your cousin's forces. He's there, mounted, armored, proud. His eyes go wide when he sees you. You should have died a lie, he snarls across the clamor. Better a prince false than a queen feared. You don't answer. Instead, you ride hard, meeting him in the center of the field. Your blades clash, the impact echoing like thunder. He's strong fast, but you're sharper in mind, in skill, in purpose. This isn't just survival for you. It's vindication. The duel feels endless. Sparks fly. Blood spatters the sand. And then, in one breathless instant, you disarm him. He stumbles, swordless, stunned. You could kill him. You should. But you don't. You lower your sword. Let history see that you chose mercy. Let them say that the queen who wore a crown in secret ruled not with vengeance, but with vision. Your cousin is taken into custody. Your troops rally. The enemy scatters. By sundown, the battlefield is yours. And for the first time in your reign, you stand beneath the setting sun, not as a prince, not as a secret, not as a symbol, but simply as yourself. Word spreads quickly, not just of your victory, but of your choice, of the mercy you showed, the truth you revealed, the strength you embodied. In the days that follow, your palace grows quieter. Visitors arrive more cautiously. Nobles bow deeper but speak less freely. There is still resistance, always will be. But now it hides in shadows, because your truth no longer does. The general remains at your side, his loyalty unshaken. And though you never speak the words, everything has changed between you. There's a softness now, a peace. At night, in the quiet of your chambers, when the armor is gone and your hair is unbound, he simply sits beside you. No need for titles. The people begin to adjust, slowly, awkwardly, but inevitably. Markets buzz with new stories. Artists paint your likeness in bold strokes. Some depict you as a woman in royal robes, others as a warrior unbound by gender. The images don't match, but that's fitting. You never fit anyway. Historians, as expected, argue endlessly. Was your reign legitimate? Was your deception justifiable? Were you a revolutionary or a fraud? Their voices rise and clash across generations, just like the blades on your final battlefield. But one truth remains unshakable: you ruled. With wisdom, with strength, with fire and silence and choices no one else dared to make. You ruled Persia, and that can never be unwritten. Now your hair turns silver with time, your steps slow. You no longer ride into battle, no longer wear the armor that once defined your power. But your eyes, sharp, clear, unwavering, still command a room. Children visit the palace and point at your portrait asking, was she really both? And their teachers just smile and say, she was more. One day you walk the palace garden alone, listening to the wind stir the jasmine vines. You sit where you once hid as a child, pretending to be someone else. And now, at last, you feel no need to pretend. The truth is out. The story is yours. And Persia, whether it admits it or not, is better for it. Now the night grows still. The torches flicker low. The story, fierce and winding, softens like worn fabric in your hands. You breathe out slowly, listening, as the winds of Persia slip back into silence, leaving only echoes of sand and memory. The queen who ruled in secret has returned to the earth her story carried now, not by scroll or crown, but by whispers in the night, whispers you alone have heard. You imagine her now older, quieter, walking those garden paths with slow, sure steps, not needing to be anyone but herself, not needing a sword or disguise, just present, just known. Let that thought carry you, that no matter how strange your journey, how secret your path, there is power in being seen, in being whole, and in shaping your truth, even if the world is not ready for it. The stars hang heavy above you now, as they did over ancient Persia. 1,000 tiny witnesses to courage you can still feel humming beneath your skin. You're not riding through battle anymore. You're simply here, breathing, still, safe. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. Maybe by now you've already drifted off to sleep, and if so, we hope this story brought you peace of mind and helped you rest a little easier. Deep sleep makes life better, and we're truly happy to be part of that. Until next time, sweet dreams.